Hi everyone, welcome to Value. Today we're looking at Ambrx Biopharma. Now I did this video on the stock on the actual trading day when it was in the middle of the trading day, and the stock was about $2.50, and that was over 500% for the stock, which was pretty amazing. And now we know the actual finishing is over 1,000%, which is pretty amazing, pretty phenomenal, insane if anything. And the stock price finished at $4.54. It kind of shows you, if you look at the actual trading of the stock, it peaked at about $4.21, and then it just proceeded to fall down to $2.15, and then just zoom back up. So you can see that the stock has been clearly traded, where people just pushed it up as much as they could, and when they couldn't, everyone decided to take profit, causing a big collapse in the stock. And then over time, people kind of sort of stabilized, and they brought up again, and then just really pushed it in the last hour for that nice peak to achieve 1,000% gain. In terms of the volume, I'll scroll up just a little bit so you can see the volume. So you can see the volume just above my head there. The volume is 116 million of the stock was traded on that day, whereas the average volume is normally 98,000 shares. So you can kind of understand why the stock kind of traded so low. It just drifted that much, and that can kind of be normal sometimes of stocks that just get forgotten. And I feel like this stock was one of the stocks that was forgotten, because if you actually look into the announcements, their cash and cash equivalents was $129 million as of the end of June, and at the end of last year it was $170 million. So if you come back to the share chart here, back in June the stock was trading at around $4, and then it proceeded to just continue to downtrend for quite a bit. So if we go back a year is probably a good amount of time. That stock was actually at $9.80 when they had about a balance sheet of $170 million, and you basically see the stock trend downwards all the way to about 41 cents. So you get the idea. This stock was just trending downwards, probably on low amount of interest in the stock, and then basically the stock traded much below its cash balance. That's one thing, you can never really lose if you have a cash balance, but of course they were burning quite a bit of money. So as you can see, end of December, $170 million, and the end of June, $129 million. So basically in that 6 months, as it says, net loss $51 million. So you get the idea that it can burn up quite a bit of cash, particularly these type of companies. And if they're not achieving a lot, the market kind of gets a bit pessimistic and goes, you may just end up burning up all your money before you achieve anything significant. In a way it turns out they did sort of achieve something significant. So as it says, Ambrx announces encouraging preliminary safety and efficacy data evaluating ARX 788, and that was for breast cancers. So in a sense it was quite an achievement, but if we actually dive into the data, we'll actually realize it actually only involves 7 patients. So if you follow my videos when I do Veru, you'll know that patient sample size matters a lot, particularly sometimes in the slightest of differences. And when it comes to seven's really it's a really low number, but of course it's just a testing stage for them in terms of testing the actual treatment to see if it actually showed if it was actually safe. So it was about efficacy and safety, and it's fair enough that they did it on a very small sample. The biggest question is, if they did it on a large sample, will those results be considerably different? And the thing is, when you use such a small sample, the result could actually end up quite different, particularly if you're using 7. You could basically, just a matter of one person showing a positive or a negative effect can have a drastic result on your results. So basically, it's a tough one to call regarding how great it is. In a sense, it's good for what they've achieved in terms of the efficacy and the safety, and breast cancer is a big deal as well. So that's kind of why the market kind of picked it up and ran with it, because they're like, actually, this is something that's worth looking at. But the also one thing is the company itself has actually stopped funding any further studies. They've actually kind of outsourced it in a sense. So as it says, Ambrx 788 is currently being studied in several registrational trials in breast cancer and gastric cancer by Ambrx's partners. So that's Ambrx Biopharma in China. So basically, they've just outsourced it to Ambrx. As I think in a previous source, they stated that they didn't have the money to kind of match the competition in terms of progress. So they just outsourced it, and I guess they will share the benefit if anything positive comes out of it. But of course, they've clearly benefited from a very large increase in share price. And the problem is, once you've seen a company rise this much in their share price, there's going to be a lot of profit takers. Also makes the company rub their hands and go, with the share price is doing really well, should we raise extra money? So that's the thing. If you're in it for a trading stock, just kind of be wary that, hey, this result was based on 7 people. And even though, it was still positive, of course, I just think it's just one of those things that on the day people really ran with it, but after some consideration, they'll go, how much water did this result actually hold? And in a way, it did hold a bit of water, but I think people are also looking at the whole idea of the cash balance. Cash balance was 129 million. Of course, almost 6 months has passed, so potentially they're at much less than 100 million now. So yeah, that's also one consideration as well, that potentially they're below 100 million in cash, and the market valuation might drop to that level, to a cash level, just for safety. Whereas that's why I kind of feel like potentially that $175 million might be on the higher side. The fair value side probably might just be around that $100 or $120 million valuation. But in saying that, hey, if traders really decide they want to push the stock to another level, given the low valuation, then they potentially could as well. But I would only just give my opinion in terms of what I would do, and in a sense of like, I would look at this and go, it feels a bit high, and I'm unsure how the traders will react, particularly ones that may want to just take profit, and if there's a panic, things will just slide. So just like here, just as like a stock peaked here, it may slide down here, and potentially that might be kind of your area of purchasing if you decide you want to take that risk and try to trade out the stock around that $2 area if it comes down to that. Apart from that, that's all I really have to say. I think it's extraordinary seeing 1,000% increase, but regarding how much further it will go, I think either traders continue to push it upwards, or it probably ends there, or unless it just like comes down in a huge way, and it just has a rebound, which would be that opportunity to trade it, and then that will probably be more or less the end of that one, until they have further results, of course. So that's kind of what I'm seeing anyway. Until then, good luck investing, everyone, and if you got any questions or comments, post below.